Hi, welcome. I'm Danielle. I'm Oak Moon Tarot on Instagram, and I am shifting here to YouTube where I want to start exploring all the cards in the deck. And today I want to start with Five of Pentacles. Ugh. It's a tough one. It's a tough card, but I feel like it's really resonant for the time that we're in right now. I'm filming this in April of 2020, and it is quarantine, social distancing, coronavirus. Things are pretty heavy. This Five of Pentacles vibe is really strong, so I thought it would be appropriate to start here where we are. So Five of Pentacles is at its core about energetic depletion. Like if you just wanted to distill the essence of this card down, I think energetic depletion really sums it up. But that can show up in a lot of different ways. So pentacles are the suit where we find matters of money, matters of the body, our resources, physical environment, work. And five is a number of conflict, hardship, and you can see this reflected. This is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and it shows two figures out in the cold outside of a church, right? And they have their heads down. So really this card is just reflecting circumstances being shitty, right? Oftentimes the message of this card, people will say, is that help is available. You just have to look up to find it, right? Because these people have their heads down, and so they're not seeing the glowing window of the church where they could presumably just go in and be embraced and fed. So maybe I think that sometimes that can show up in readings for sure. I think that more often it is simply reflective of the hard time. I don't think that it's chiding us that we are not working hard enough to get out of this situation. It's just acknowledging that that's where we are. And honestly, as far as the whole, these people in the church will take care of you, I don't know that that's true. And I think that this card can definitely show up to indicate a feeling of spiritual rejection, especially for marginalized populations. That can show up. So that whole idea that, these people just need to go inside the church, I mean, maybe they can't. Maybe they have been ostracized or exiled. I think that is more often the case. So what other things can show up in Five of Pentacles? Health concerns are really big in Five of Pentacles because Pentacles have so much to do with the body. And that's very resonant now. I mean, many of us are dealing with health problems no matter what is happening in the, global environment. But right now we all have a lot of fear around our health, right? So Five of Pentacles can reflect that, either the anticipation of health problems or the actual experience of them. And this is the Way Home Tarot. And I really like this image of rotting tomatoes. It's very evocative. I like that. This is the Fountain. I'm just going to show a few different cards. This is the Fountain. It stays pretty close to the Rider-Waite image with people kind of outside of a church. Anytime that there are more than one person depicted in a card, it is useful to ask if both of those people or all of those people are aspects of yourself before you interpret them as other people, potentially. So sometimes this card can show up to indicate relationships that may keep you, you sometimes get in relationships where you just have to keep yourself dialed down to be in that relationship. Maybe because of the other person's expectations, or there's just something about it where you can't turn your light on all the way to be around that person. Maybe it's threatening, whatever. And I think that sometimes Five of Pentacles can indicate those kind of relationships where you're just keeping your light under a bushel, right? But if we look at it where both of these figures are aspects of oneself, the way that it shows up for me, here's a little example, is sometimes I will be really, really tired. I will be energetically depleted. And I know I really need a nap. And I will go to my deck and I'll be fussing because I don't want to take a nap. And instead I just want to ask the tarot, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What do I do? And I'll pull Five of Pentacles almost every time I'm in a situation that's like that. And not only is Five of Pentacles then reflecting my fatigue, my sense of energetic depletion in my body, but also the fact that I am conspiring in some way to keep myself depleted, like subconsciously. I'm not willing to give myself that nap that I know that I need. That's why Five of Pentacles is sometimes called like a pity party card, because it's like we know what we need to scoop ourselves out of this state of woe is me, but for some reason we're just not taking those steps. So sometimes that card, Five of Pentacles, can show up in that way too. Here is the Susurrabito, which I really love that. I love this kind of has that famine aspect to it, which makes me think of this card's applications to diet culture, which it absolutely has associations with, which is again like the ways that we are keeping ourselves small, tired, energetically contracted. Five of Pentacles can reflect that as well. So it's just, how are we participating in our own depletion? I suppose is the question to ask there. Yeah, this can be a very confrontational card. You know, we pull it and sometimes we fear that it tells us that we're going to go broke, or we're going to lose everything, or we're going to get sick. But I think if we can just look at it through that lens of energetic depletion, it kind of takes the charge away from it being related to like our body or our money, which can feel just like too much confrontation. So just that depletion. Where are you experiencing depletion? How might you be participating in it? Those are some pertinent questions to ask when this card comes up. And I think the lesson of this card, more than the whole you need to look up and get help, which feels a little bit too much like pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of in some ways that I don't love. I think that really, if we can sink into the energy of this card, what it offers us is an inoculation against ingratitude, right? So if we really are feeling what it feels like to be this depleted, then when circumstances change, which they absolutely will, because no one is going to stay in this state forever. Things are always like, tide is always turning, right? So if we really experience like that state of depletion, when we are filled again, then we're really going to be grateful. We're not going to take things for granted. And I think that that is what the experience of this card really offers us. And we have to remember that as a 5, it's tied to the Hierophant, which is a card, it's a teacher or a translator of our experiences, and it's where we really make meaning of things. And 5s in the tarot are all difficult, and so it really shows that we learn best through hardship. Like that's where the lessons really stick. And so 5 of Pentacles really does have a lot to offer us. It's just really hard to get through. There's really no getting around it. I think that's all that I have to say about 5 of Pentacles. I did write a rather long form essay on 5 of Pentacles on my Patreon. So if you would like to become a member there, you can get access to all the Card of the Week essays for $1 a month or more. All tiers have the same access, and there'll be a spread for every card. So if you just visit patreon.com/oakmoontarot, then you can find that there. And I have a lot more to say about 5 of Pentacles in that format. So thanks for joining me, and I'll be back with maybe a more upbeat card next time. We'll see. And I hope you're weathering all of this very well, and that your 5 of Pentacles experience, if that is what you're experiencing in this quarantine time, isn't too intense. Thank you, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.